Karamoja is semi-arid in nature, receives erratic rainfall and recurrent droughts, causing the region to suffer chronic food insecurity and vulnerability to hunger, leading to malnutrition amongst children and the elderly, and even the loss of lives. For instance, in 2015, about 28 people had died of hunger and several were bedridden, and most severely affected were the children and the elderly. This region is dependent on food aid year in, year out. Since 2013, Karamoja has experienced acute crop failure due to prolonged dry spells that have led to poor harvests, leading to reduced household food availability in the region. According to Food Security and Nutrition Assessment (FSNA) of July 2016, only 24% of households had any food stocks. During such situations, food is always brought in from neighboring regions, leading to exorbitant food prices. But with the poverty levels in Karamoja at 74.2% as compared to the national average of 21.4%, it makes it hard for the poor and vulnerable households to have access to food all the time.
Most times it was realized that in the district there are periods when the food and nutrition indicators become bad. So ADRA said, why is it that there is a reoccurrence of food deficits causing malnutrition down there? Is it because there are some other gaps that we have not ventured into?
ADRA Uganda had been working with over 40 local CBOs, building their various capacities under the Action for Social Change program. And then they made an observation.
Action for Social Change is a program which is dealing with capacity building of communities so that they can advocate, they can claim for their rights. But we realize that as they do that, there are elements which we found that they were recurring all the time. And that is the issues of hunger, issues of food.
For instance, in Karamoja, only 2.7% of the children 6 to 23 months are having minimum acceptable diet, 5.6% having the minimum diet diversity, and 34.3% meeting the minimum meal frequency. Again, in Karamoja, 12% of children are acutely malnourished and in danger of dying. On top of this, poor food preparation methods by mothers and caregivers also leads to loss of nutrients. Mothers also have limited access to nutritious foods such as vegetables, milk, eggs, and meat for their children. 31.9% of children under the age of 5 are underweight, 45% are stunted, and wasting among the children is at 7.1%. Additionally, food security situation in Karamoja is also influenced by poor post-harvest handling, which leads to poor quality and loss of food. Traditionally, the Karamojong have mainly depended on livestock rearing with minimal crop cultivation as their source of livelihood. However, in recent years, the region has experienced a catastrophic decline in livestock population, so largely out of distress, households are now turning towards agriculture. With local CBOs as an entry point, ADRA Uganda, with support from ADRA Denmark, implemented a 2-year food access and income resource for the child, acronymed Fairchild Project, to create sustainable food and income resources for the targeted Karamojong households. The focus was on reducing hunger amongst children by economically empowering vulnerable food insecure households.
Because when you look at the two strands Fairchild is having, is reduction of hunger at the household level and then increased incomes. And our main focus was a child at a household level. Because Action for Social Change stops at the community level, that's where we pick our impact. But now we moved down to the household level. And its modality is very unique in that we are using CBOs of Action for Social Change to deliver the program of Fairchild.
The Fairchild structure was made up of 15 groups in every area of 20 households, making up 300 households per district and a total of 900 households for the whole area of coverage. The theory of change behind the Fairchild project is that if households are supported with sustainable income-generating activities and resources, and provided with skills to better manage them and add value, then they will make profits, increasing on their savings and using the proceeds to provide food for their families, especially children, even during situations of food scarcity and drought in the region.
I remember I witnessed the handovers of some goats, local goats, that were given to the vulnerable groups, that eventually, after receiving, once they produce, those goats are given to the next, because there were very many members of the group.
Fasha lobino kelo diegi, emio ja bishel, shilling. Emio ja parangwen, diegi. Ikom diegi ne mio gini, diegi chani onyuol. Mengata chil, nongo dong tieke tinario ki komario, na teko diko doko na ditoko, ekelo ngete kuchiel kwene, I group na dit.
This is Nakoreto group, and amongst them is Mama Anna Lokong, a goat rearing beneficiary.
Lolo bong niño grupo nya ngarak ni ta na che de beri ngarak ne te de ni a pedorio cha nya nya ni na ko tere ki chardan ni che robono ba jal nya ni na do to uriye do cha tanya ngi de ta mama to ni de ngarak na ra ni de ngada nga ki nya ngelu do che ti yari te ro nya ki nya mono ka pi ti ya to gelu ni ya char bo ni mo do bore kara nya nya ka birda nga ni dia uni cha buka gini, ocha ulo riana gini, mana gini janya chai, ocha nielo muninga giano, muninga to gelana munyichi.
So the group had to mutate, to divide into two. So if you got 15, if 15 members received, then the offsprings of the 15 will not benefit from, such that the whole group becomes happy that I have benefited. Though I was not the first to receive, but the first group has to make sure that this number will never receive, becomes can I say, a watchdog of those ones who have received, such that they ensure that there is a transfer of the goat to me, so that I can also be able to benefit.
Anna also adds value to goat milk by churning it into yogurt for later use by the children. But the most valuable use of the goats is when they are sold off for cash, which can then be used for other income-generating activities or even for buying food stocks, something Loyan knows only too well. The reason goats were chosen was because it was easier to involve both women and children in rearing and owning, as opposed to cattle, which are purely a male preserve. To turn the Karimojong away from over-reliance on livestock, ADRA introduced crop farming for both cereals and basic kitchen crops. This not only provided alternative nutrition to the family, but the excesses were sold off in local markets for extra family income.
Give them the knowledge and be able to grow, so that when the project ends, then the people can be able to continue growing horticultural crops, because it's just high demand in the market. Tomatoes, onions, and others, high demand. Most of the crops right now, during the time of when it is very dry, they pick them from all the way from Bale, which is around 300 kilometers from Kotido, or Soroti, or Lira.
The garden crop farming has become so successful that it has even attracted some from traditionally very unlikely quarters.
Okonywa mabere ka potia medo wa kikony eka dokwe lego ni miro konywa ek doko otun bot mon mati chalo pe obiro wan kenwa mito jo pirario cha oniangino ko maber jo kene dok na ngech mene tia mito nakachuo mene mito ni de donyi group.
It's now not uncommon to find both husband and wife working in the kitchen garden. Mama Nyanga Maria is happy. The proceeds from her crop farms have given birth to a new business venture. She is a local cooking oil vendor. This earns her both money and respect. It's the likes of Mama Maria who set the example. And now neighboring households are raising the demand on horticultural agro inputs.
The farming activities are being diversified within the communities. The communities now have the guts to buy their own seeds, a case which has not been there. The communities would solely depend on external support, seed support, but right now the communities are able to go to the agro input shops which are around town and then get some vegetable seeds which they go back and plant in the backyards. The intention of putting them in the backyards is for easy management and then easy access to the vegetables at the right time when they need it.
With our structures in place, we made sure that we met the farmers physically and shared with them their challenges. Then we managed to bring our goods and services closer to those farmers. It is important to note that those farmers actually now contact us direct, even without the knowledge of the Fair Child project.
Hey, I was brewing abutia, this local abutia, but the capital was not even enough. In that abutia, everything is there. Renting, school fees for the children is there, eating is there, everything is there, but the lifestyle was not so good. Cultivating was difficult for me. I did not even know how to cultivate that kitchen gardens there. Even about saving, I was not even comfortable in saving because I don't have that knowledge of saving. Even nutrition, how to maintain children, how to give them different type of food, I was not really confident in that.
Fairchild introduced the groups to produce buying and selling as part of enterprise management, a venture which was wholesomely received.
After when this project of Fairchild came in, they fund us also with some funds. I was given money, and that money I left brewing and I was now selling produce. Out of that produce, I built also a house. This house, out of that produce, my daughter is in the Cotido mix, and that part of money is helping me to pay her for her school fees. Even soap at home here, even clothes for them, even eating capacity. I'm using that same money for helping them. I've used some for doing that kitchen garden there. And from the side of nutrition, my children are healthy. They can eat what they want, can buy for them clothes, can take care for them when they're sick. When they need what I can able to buy for them. But before that, I was not able to do it. So this project of Fairchild has really helped me.
Next, the project linked the household cereal producers to major millers operating in the areas as part of value chain addition and market linkage.
It's the information. Those farmers did not have information about, first of all, Achila Enterprises. So they didn't know the goods and services which we provide. And it's through the project engaging us to handle those farmers, they realized that they could produce and get a market for what they produce. So there is much potential for them to produce a lot of volumes, but I think they need a lot of support.
With the households now earning some income, it was time to equip them with sound financial literacy, enterprise management, and record keeping. This was better achieved by linking them to existing VSLA or Village Savings and Loans Associations. This also became platforms for germinating new business ventures through the loans.
And then there were groups that were identified, now given some cash in order to inject in some IGS, like support some activity that can be used for the VSL activities. Because you cannot save the money you're given directly. You first need to inject that fund into some activity that will generate some income. Then part of that income or inflow is put as a VSLA. Now, this VSLA is now, of course, you say with a purpose. You say, I'm putting this one here in case of this emergency. I can be able to use to buy some food, can be able to go take to the child to school and other things there.
This is Jennifer Akelo, At 24, she's a mother of 3 and a member of Loyoroit VSLA here in Alerek sub-county in Abim.
When I got my loan, Nelly, me a chair. I take my business. I will catch the teacher. Don't mock me a thing at the school. Manokene, I will look at Jim Chani, a thing of teacher. Manokene, a tea bolo, Chani, Chandu. Chilling Nana Gamini Chani, Tia Koyanana Bear, a Tia Nene Chani, a loga do tea. A chala chilling Nana Gamoni. Chani a tea will look at Gimono, change our pay, Ganyan no yo pay, and tea Chani. A Chani under Deno, a Tia no any a loga do tea, the Kalana Bear. Chani a choco dico, and Anthony Damura Chai, a mere thing of mother. Cham when you don't know you can meet in a mother, chap, be ready no jam deck, it's anything no jam deck.
There has been a lot of monitoring to see the progress of these groups in as far as the implementation of the Fair Child project, and our findings show that the groups are catching up. They've gained the skills. The projects, the support that they have been given, they are able to manage. As for example, the groups were supported with the goats, and those goats, if you even go now, you'll find the goats are there. We are actually impressed that the goats have multiplied. The communities are gaining from the goats. They are selling these goats to raise income to meet other household needs. The milk from the goats is helping the children at home. And of course, you know, here in Karamoja, the goat's milk really supports the children at home, especially the last year when we did not have enough harvest, and right now the households are hunger-stricken, and these animals are really supporting in the feeding, the nutrition of the children.
The local leadership concurs.
The Fair Child project. This project was intended to improve on nutrition, especially for children and in households. This project has also done a lot in achieving the intended objectives. Basically, communities were mobilized for this project. They were given animals for multiplication, and since this is a pastoral community, any initiative that is meant towards improving the quality of the livestock that we keep is actually highly commended.
Really, I appreciate our donor, ADRA Denmark, that they are so open to trying, because if you are trying out approaches, you learn more, and then there is value addition to the program. That is something we look at as a plus to our donor in that regard.
The Fair Child project was a fairly transformative project, and if there's any downside to it, it would be that its lifespan was too short.
If there is further funding for Fair Child, it would be better. Do you know why? That some strands of Fair Child could not achieve in short terms. For example, the reduction of, one of their change area was reduction of hunger at household. What? That is something we have seen that we need a long-term intervention to have that. If we are to get impact in that region, we need to have
I'll try to put it